Hi everyone, hey people, how you guys doing? Hope you guys are good. It's just Ayatunde in here, popularly known as Jay, and you're welcome to the very first episode of the first season of the Intentional Flow podcast. Yes, the IF or the IF podcast, anyhow you want to call it. Today is the 16th of January 2022 and it's my 25th birthday. I'm sure you guys can see how excited I am if you're watching the YouTube version of this podcast, and if you're listening to me, then you can hear my voice. Baby, who are excited, because I am truly excited. I'm 25 today and I'm just super grateful, super excited, super thankful for how far God has brought me. My excitement is more about what God wants to do in my life moving forward. Like, it's about to be, hey, God, I'm super excited. I don't even know how to explain it. How? It's about to be here, right? And you can be part of my success story when you join the family. I'll be looking forward to your messages. I'll be looking forward to your well wishes and your prayers and everything. So yes, this episode is titled A Fresh Start, and it is titled A Fresh Start for plenty reasons. Now, one of which is the fact that this is like a rebranded podcast with a different name, a different vision, a different mandate. If you go on the Instagram page, you will see a lot more about what the podcast is about, but let me just give you briefly. So it's about building people who are intentional about every aspect of their lives. So we know how in this world today we are all living the I don't care, everybody wants to cut somebody off, no one wants to make efforts when it comes to friendships, relationship, and then there are a lot of things that we need to learn, relearn, and unlearn. A lot of things that our parents did that we need to take back because we've thrown them away. There are a lot of things that they did that we've taken in that we need to let go, and there are also a lot of things we need to learn. Like Alvin Toffler said, the 21st century illiterate will not be those who cannot read or write, but will be those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. For example, there's this old trend that is going on right now, and that is the whole issue of baby mamas. That's one. A guy and a lady living together, they're not boyfriend and girlfriend, you're getting pregnant and all that. I don't think stuff like that happened during the days of our parents. And no, this is a no judgment zone. I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying there are certain things that happened during the times of our parents that have just slowly been pushed aside because we believe we are the woke generation. We need to go back and pick those kind of things up. And then there are certain behaviors that we've taken from our parents. Like, we all know that it is very, very hard for you to see an African parent apologize, like say the word I am sorry. And it shouldn't be that difficult, because what that has done is it has built a lot of people who don't know how to apologize. To say sorry is hard for a lot of people, and it shouldn't be. But these are like things that we picked up from our parents growing up and has become like a part of us. Those are the kind of things we need to unlearn. And then things that we need to learn, we get to them as each episode unfolds. So basically, this podcast is for us to build a community of people who are intentional about every aspect of their lives. Their spiritual life, their physical life, their mental life, their social life, their financial life, their relationship, friendship. I decided to differentiate both of them because we all know that when we talk about relationship these days, everybody's thinking about boyfriend and girlfriend and man and woman and all of that. So let's just, okay, fine, let's accept it. Then we have friendship, we have family, we have, you get all of those aspects of your life. People who are intentional about those aspects. That's what this podcast is meant for. So now that I've given you an idea of what the podcast is all about, let's get into today's episode, which is a fresh start. Yes, this is a fresh start in every aspect. When it comes to the title, it's a fresh start. When it comes to my own life, it's a fresh start. It's a new year, it's a fresh start. And I've decided that because I turned 25, I'm going to talk about 25 things that I've learned in 25 years. I decided to type them out so I don't forget. The first aspect I'm going to be talking about is the spiritual aspect. I remember I saw a video a few days back where they were basically talking about people born in 97 and how we are all turning 25 this year, and we just don't want to get to it because it seems like it's that age where it's like life is about to be real. You get, because in your head you're like, wait, whoa, I'm 5 from 30. But my approach to 25 has just been like a very happy one, which is weird considering my kind of person. But I'm excited about this new phase because I just believe God has something in store for me, and I cannot wait to begin to just start, get into it. God is number one for me this year. Yes, is topmost priority. If it's not saying move, I'm not moving. If it's not saying go, how I'm not going, how I'm staying. Yes, that's it. So the first thing is that my walk with God is actually dependent on me. Feel free to relate any of this to your life, because at the end of the day, that's the essence of the podcast. I think I learned this when I started 7. I'm a PK. If you don't know what that means, I'm a pastor's child. So I'm a PK, pastor's kid. So I grew up in that family where if there's church, you have to go to church. Whether you're sick or you're healthy, you have to go to church. Yes. And we all go to church together. Like, no one is at home. Everybody goes in the car. If there's a car, if there's no car, we are all trekking the trek to church, and we're taking public transport. You understand? We all move together. So you don't get to decide if you want to go to church, how important going to church is for you. That has officially been decided by my parents. I'm sure pastor children can relate. So leaving my father's house and coming for NYC has just taught me that, you know what, at the end of the day, you see, your spiritual journey with God is personal. They've done their part to this very moment that I am right now. Moving forward, I get to make most decisions for myself, because most times I'm going to be on my own, except when I'm with them at home, that I know, okay, fine, back to factory reset. Now I get to decide when I want to go to church, if I want to go to church, how important fellowshipping with God's people is to me. Do you understand? That's one thing I learned towards the end of 2021. So the second point is that God loves me unconditionally, and no one can convince me that God does not exist. Like, fam, in the past 25 years, I have experienced God. And I'm not even going to talk about God in a sense of, oh, because I am a PK and you were born in a Christian home, so you have to know God. No, I'm talking about experiencing God, not because somebody told me, but because I have actually experienced Him for myself. Nobody said they tell me myself had not experienced Him. Do you understand? I've seen God come through for me. The moment where it's like all hope is lost, and I'm like, you know what, God, I surrender all. At different moments where it feels like I've gotten to the breaking point, I've gotten to the wall, God just come through. So there's no way now in this 2022 that anyone can convince me that God doesn't exist. You just cannot change my mind, because I have experienced God for myself in different dimensions. And I've come to realize that even in those moments where things don't now end up my way, it always happens for a reason. There's always a reason I probably don't know, or I later come to realize. For example, one very valid one that would always be in my head is the fact that I didn't get into school the moment I wanted to get into school. That is always like a very valid example I always use when I'm talking about myself, my life, and everything. Because I was like every child. Once you finish high school, you want to get into uni. I was not a dwellard. I know book. So why I did not get into school with my peers after secondary school is what I could not understand for a very long time. But later, after I was done, I realized a lot of things. First things first, God was preparing me for something bigger that I could not even see when I was trying to get into school. My own head, my brain was looking towards Unlearn, which is not a bad thing. I mean, I tried to get into the school like 2-3 times, but they kept slapping me. Like, see, if they slap you back the first time, your brain resets that, oh, okay, don't put all your eggs in one basket, Abby. No, this girl, she get coconut head. She know the year word. Yes, I was not hearing word. I feel like that was the point where God was telling me, change tactic. You need to think why. Your brain is not thinking towards where I want for you and everything. As at then, not in a million years would I have thought I would end up attending a private university. See, if I'm thinking about several things, private university was the last thing on my mind, because I just felt like my parents were not at that point financially. We were not broke then. We were comfortable, but I knew private they pay millions. So I remember during that period, I applied for Kwara State University, and their fees as at then was 200k. And I remember there was one time when I told my sister that I applied for it, or I was going to apply for it, I can't remember, and she was like, are you sure you want to apply for it? Like, can mommy and daddy pay 200k? And this was like a state university, not even a private university. I'm saying all this for you to know how far God was going with me, and I was just not saying it. God just allowed me go through that phase of almost 4 years, because it was preparing not just me or my family for a place where I can actually attend a private uni. As at the time I wanted to enter uni, we could not afford it. But almost 4 years after that, we could afford the 200k and more. Like, see, sometimes when things are happening, it's because you can't see the bigger picture. God might just be preparing you for something bigger that you can't see at that point. I just realized that those explanation was the explanation I was going to give for my third point, which is when it is not going my way, it's because God wants it so, and has a different plan for me. He wants to take his bragging right a step higher, and that was just it. God has a way of using me to work on. I used to see it like God has a way of using me to brag, and that was just what he wanted to do with my school life. Like, see, people did not think you could actually do this. Even you yourself did not think you could actually go this direction. But I'm going to take you to this direction. I will take you more than that. Do you understand? Because what? To use you to brag, and that is how it has been with my life so far. You're going to hear a lot of God on this podcast, and I'm not sorry in advance. You just have to get used to it. Alright, so my next point, and this is something I think I learned towards the end of 2021, and that's the fact that God doesn't want me to be perfect. He just wants me to make daily progress, and that is another reason why this podcast is called Intentional Flow. Now, the flow part of this podcast means you have to sometimes learn to go with the flow. For a very long time, I was battling with the name for this podcast, and that was because I just wanted things to be perfect. If it's not perfect, I don't want it. But entering 2022, when I finally got the name for the podcast, it was more like God just telling me, see, babe, you have to calm down and start learning to go with the flow. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to experience progress. Your podcast does not have to be perfect on the first episode. In fact, perfection could be overrated, but what people must see is progress. People must see that every episode is different. So yes, moving that to my spiritual life, one thing I learned towards the end of 2021 is the fact that in my spiritual life, God is not expecting me to be perfect. For a very long time, I had always felt like I wasn't a serious Christian. I wasn't that much of a Christian. Why? Because I could not pray for 3 hours like people. I can't read the Bible for 2 hours like people used to. But there are a lot of things that you hear Christians say, like I can't speak in tongues. And so for a very long time, it worried me, and it dragged my personal walk with God, because I always felt like I was inadequate, like I wasn't a Christian, I wasn't doing it the right way, I did not get the manual and everything. But towards the end of 2021, God made me realize, see, it's not about perfection. I don't want you to be perfect. I only want you to make daily progress. If you start today with reading 1 verse of the Bible, next week you could graduate to reading 2 verses of the Bible. That's progress. If you start with praying for 15 minutes today, next week you could make progress and move to 30 minutes. So it is those kind of progress that God is looking for, and that is what I've decided to work with moving on into 2022. Because for my kind of person, even when things seem to be perfect, even with my career, even with me creating content, if I disturb myself that I want to make sure it is perfect, after I've created and exhausted all my creative ideas and made the video and I post it, ladies and gentlemen, I will still have an issue with it. Yes, because it is just not always perfect in my eyes, and God just used that aspect of my life to just equate it to my spiritual aspect, just make me see. Same with your career, your spiritual life, and your relationship with other people. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to keep making progress. My relationship with people, I'm not the kind of person that necessarily checks up on people, but God just makes me understand that this year you need to just continue making efforts, and that's what I'm all for. Alright, so moving on to the next point. God is not a man, so I should stop using what humans would do as a threshold for what God would do. So you know how when you sin, you've condemned yourself, you feel like you're not worthy of heaven and everything. That's what the human mind would think, but that's not what God is saying. God is saying if you can truly repent and start walking in the right path I've set for you, I'm good with you. And if I'm forgiving you, I am not thinking of your past, because there are actually several times when things I've done in the past comes crashing into my face like guilt. Maybe I'm about to pray, it just stops me from praying. Like, it's like, you that you did this in 1997, you that you did this in 2015. Do you understand? There's that voice that I keep hearing for a very long time, and it just kept dragging my walk with God. But God made me realize towards the end of 2021 that, see, At the end of the day, I'm not human being. I'm not you. It says, as heaven is far from the earth, so are his thoughts from my thoughts, and his ways from my ways, and everything are just far apart. Yes, God is no man. Alright, so moving on to the next aspect, which is the financial aspect. This is point number 6, by the way. I won't be a child forever, except in the eyes of my parents. Now, this is one thing I learned in December last year, and I learned it from my dad. Now, generally speaking, if you like be 70 years old, you'd always be a child to your parents, and that is like a fact I have come to accept, and there's nothing I can do about it at the end of the day. But there was something I really learned in December last year, and it's the fact that my dad would always see me as daddy's little girl, daddy's last girl, you get, except I'm able to prove to him that I'm not that much of a baby. I already established the fact that I would always be daddy's girl proudly, anytime, any day. But in certain areas of my life, I need, because he sees me as his baby, his daughter, in every single area of my life. And that's why I remember in December I was asking him for a certain amount of money because I wanted to get a gadget, a phone, and he felt that money was too much, understandably so, because I wasn't necessarily earning up to that amount for me to be requesting for that amount. Maybe that's one of his reasons. But the reason he gave me was that it's not like he doesn't have the money, but I can't remember the exact words he used, but basically what he was trying to tell me is he just doesn't feel I'm at that age where I should be using a gadget worth that amount of money, something like that. There was a way it came off, and immediately he said it, I went quiet because then it dawned on me that I had to step up. What I was asking, there are a lot of my peers who are using gadgets that are way more than that. He is still looking at me with the eye of a child, and probably with the eye of someone that's not working, unemployed. Understandably so. If I wanted respect from my parents, if I wanted them to begin to regard me as more than a child, more than a baby, I needed to start doing things for myself, things that show that I am no longer a baby. Another thing that particular occasion made me realize is there's no amount of money my dad is going to give me that will give me the life I want to live. You know, that those kind of life that maybe you've had like a very stressful 3 months and you can just decide wake up. Thankfully, the kind of job I do allows it. You can just decide to wake up and just like, you know what, you want to take a weekend break and you're going to Paris, and you know you are footing the bills from your tickets to everything, feeding, accommodation, everything, you're footing it. If you know that kind of lifestyle, I just know from that conversation with him, I need to work for myself. The only way I can get the life or live the life I want is if I earn the money that guarantees me that life myself. Yes, it was a bitter, hard truth I had to learn. Okay, so the next point is the fact that adulthood is not paying. Fam, I learned this when I started living alone. At times when I'll get my allowance, and by the time I remove the money I want to use to buy food stuff for the month, my aunt has already cut. I don't like debit a lot at all. You get one credit, you get like 15 debit. What happened? Why? Please, who else is tired? Who else want to unsubscribe from this adulthood because I'm at the front of that line? What our parents did not tell us. And the thing is, realizing all of this makes me appreciate the efforts that my parents and every other parent put into raising children, because it's like, just imagine the number of debits a day they are getting. Your parents have like 5 children. Just imagine the amount of debits they will get for school fees, for your feeding, for clothing, Christmas clothes, food. Like, just imagine. And I'm like, wow. It's one of the things that makes me know that, see, you see marriage, you see children, I'm not ready for it. I'm not there yet. You see those debit alerts? I'm not ready for it. Alright, so the next point is, it isn't just one way that leads to the market. Yeah, this is something I learned over time. I saw one particular post, I think it was Maddie that made that post, and it was the fact that being an entrepreneur is not compulsory, it's not mandatory, but having multiple streams of income is a necessity. A candid advice from me to you. Alright, so moving on. This is point number 9. Saving and investing are 2 different things, and I need to take them seriously if I want financial breakthrough. And this is something I'm still learning. I'm one person that believes you only live once. And I've been broke before I did not die. So if I have money and probably I'm hungry, my sister, I'm gonna get food and I'm gonna eat. If I have money and probably I need data, I'm gonna buy that data. Basically, if I have money and there are things I need, I'm gonna get it. I'm not the kind of person that would just save to a detriment. No. And there are times when I've saved and I've gone back to pick the money. And habits I know I need to stop. But I'm just saying, if there's something I realized last year, it's the fact that saving and investing are two different things. You can always save. Now the thing with saving is what you save is what you get. You're not getting addition, you're not getting subtraction. It is that depending on where you save, shall. If you save in certain banks like UBA and some other banks, you're gonna get debits. If you know, you guys, you can attest to it, right? In fact, if not all banks, you cannot save in them, because if you save, instead of you to be getting interest, you'll be getting debit alerts. And to say 15k, if you say 15k, why will be, if you see like maybe 10, 11, 12 by the end of the year, because they'll have collected the many money on top nonsense. If you know. Save, but be rest assured that what you save is what you're going to get. But investing, you get interest on the money. Invest in things that appreciate, not things that depreciate. That's a different talk for another episode, not this episode. The last thing I learned under the financial aspect, this is not peculiar to just the financial aspect, and that's the fact that I also have toxic traits that I need to work on. As humans, it's very, very easy for us to be judges of other people and be lawyers of ourselves. But sometimes you need to sit down and think. People are coping with you the same way you are coping with them. Yes, you're not the only one who is checking out people's bad character. They are also checking out your bad character, and some of them are trying to live with your own bad character. So there are certain toxic traits that I know I need to chop in this 2022. And if you're my friend, if you know me personally, then you have my number. So send me some that you think I need to work on. This also means I also have to sit down and think about certain behaviors I exhibit that if somebody else does it to me, I would not feel good about it. Yeah, those kind of behaviors, I need to work on them. Like I was saying earlier about my financial life, since we're talking about finances, the habit of saving, and after a while when I really need the money, I will pick it up. Those kind of bad financial habits I need to let go of. Moving on to the next aspect, which is my career aspect. Discipline and consistency are keys for growth. See, you know how you've always known something, but then a particular event just hits you, and you're like, oh, okay, that hurt. Like I've always known that I need to be consistent for growth, but I just never took it seriously. But over the past 1 year, I have seen people who have experienced growth simply because they were consistent with their content, and it has just solidified what I've always thought, that for me to see growth, for me to experience success in my career, I need to be consistent and I need to have discipline. Working on things when they have to be done. For example, right now my body is tired, but I know I have to film this episode because I have to edit it if it has to go up on Sunday. Today is Tuesday actually. That is to even film 1 more episode or 2 more episodes before I sleep, and currently it's still 12. But whether or not I feel like it, I just have to push myself hard to get the result I'm looking for. So it's not going to be based on feelings. I'm not going to run my brand or run my business on feelings this 2022. It's going to be more on what needs to be done. If today is supposed to be my batch creating day, then I need to get up whether I feel like it or not and batch create, and I need to put on that smile and do what I have to do, because at the end of the day, that is what is going to get me the growth I need this year. I'm saying the same thing to you guys. If you want to experience growth this year, you need to be consistent and you need to be disciplined in your career. You don't work on feelings. And I'm going to also spread that to other aspects and other areas of my life. I ran my business on feelings for a very long time, and that is one of the things I plan to change this year. So you know how people will come and meet you because they are friends, they want to pick your brain for free, and not just my business, my brand too. They want to make you work for them for free, something that they cannot go and do outside for free. They'll come and meet you because you are a friend, you are a family member, come and do it for free. That has to stop in 2022 because what I'm doing is not based. 2021, I did a lot of learning. I took a lot of courses. I tried to learn a lot of things between 2020 and 2021. So I did not pay with water. I did not pay with please, just take me a job. No, I paid with money. So I have to be able to make that money back. I will only be able to make it back when you start doing the right thing, which is paying for services you want from me. Before you pick my brain, pick a payment option. Before you pick my brain, ask for my rate card. Then I'll know you're serious about helping me grow my brand. If not, you are one of those people that they sent to me to come and ruin my brand this 2022, Abby, God is not going to allow you. So the next thing I've learned is the fact that I cannot stop seeking knowledge. See, the day you stop learning is the day you start dying. Because even with what I do, every day, new trends. Every day, social media is changing something. Yes, if Instagram is not changing something, Facebook is changing. If Facebook is not changing, WhatsApp is changing. So to keep up, you have to keep learning. You cannot be a local champion of what you currently know. And you know how they say, what you don't know seniors you. So for you to senior what you don't know, you have to know it. And how do you know it? You have to what? Seek knowledge. No matter the level I get to in life, I can learn from anybody. I told you guys I took a lot of courses last year. And I took a lot of courses from people I'm older than. But sis, you are far ahead of me in this career. See, I want to get what is upstairs and add it to my own. Thanks and God bless. That's it. So far I know you have what I want. If you like, be 15. I'll pay for your class and get the knowledge I want from you. Period. Alright, so the next point, I'm not on the same path with anyone in my industry, and that's something I learned from 2020. Now this took a while for me to come to terms with, but when I did, breakthrough. There's something I learned to make this easier. It's the fact that, see, before you start comparing yourself to people, ask yourself certain questions. For example, some of them might have built a presence on a particular social media platform, and then they're trying to expand their reach, and then they bring themselves to YouTube, and because they already built a presence, obviously people from that platform try to follow them. So if they open a YouTube channel, it took you 3 months or 6 months to get 500 subscribers, it might take them 2 hours to get more than it. Before you start comparing yourself, compare every other aspect. Compare the fact that, do you guys live the same life? Are you guys having the exact kind of opportunities? Are you guys having the exact kind of challenges? Ask yourself those kind of questions. Once you guys are not living the exact kind of life, then sis, be rest assured that your path and their path is not going to be the same, and you have to be ready and pleased with it. The next point is, no one is too small to learn from. I don't care your age. Once you have what I'm looking for, I'm going to pay for your class and I'm going to get the knowledge. The next point is, now this is one that took a while for me to learn. I started my business in, I think, 2020. One thing I learned when I started my business is the fact that, see, friends and family, they will not respect your business or your brand if you don't make them. And that is one thing I plan to do in 2022. See, I will know a lot of people in 2022, and I am ready for it. If you're asking me for an advice on the services I offer, now if it's an advice I can give for free, I'll give you. If it's an advice you need to pick a payment plan for, then I'm going to ask you to do that. And if you're going to be angry, all well and good. Because guess what? Sometimes I'm up all night trying to get knowledge. You are sleeping. I'm taking classes, paying with my money. You are sleeping. Do you understand? So if you're going to come and start getting this information from me for free, it's not going to work. Because at the end of the day, I know and I've come to realize that if I don't respect myself, respect my brand, respect my business, my friends and my family, they will not respect it. Moving on to the mental aspect, this is point number 16. Now, if I want to know more, I need to read more about several things. Reading is something I've tried to go back to from 2021, and I'm going to try to do better in 2022. The next point, which is point number 17, is the fact that taking breaks from social media is good for mental health. Now, this is something I did in 2021, and I did a lot of it in 2021. See, when it gets to that point where it's I've had too much social media for my life, I take a break. These are the kind of breaks I take. Sometimes I take an absolute break when I am not online. You cannot reach me. There are breaks I take that I am not just responding to chat. On days like that, if I'm on WhatsApp, I probably will turn off my red receipts and just check through people's status, laugh a lot, learn a thing or two, and that will be it. I'm not chatting because I'm not in the mental space to exchange conversations with people. Naturally, I think life itself is so stressful. Sometimes you need a break. And taking a break is essential for your mental health. Moving on to the next point, which is point number 18. This is a very interesting point, and that is the fact that people don't know what's in their mind. I need to learn to speak and communicate. Most times when people do something to me, it shows in my face. See, I might be able to hide it, not say anything about it, but my face would always betray me. People don't know what's going on up here. So I need to learn to talk. I need to learn to communicate how exactly I am feeling. So if you say something that I don't like or something that is awful, I might not tell you immediately. I'm going to do my best to communicate with you once I am calm, relaxed, and sure that I can communicate with you without the communication escalating or going sideways, without me saying things that I don't mean to say. Point number 19. And I already said this at the beginning of this podcast, and that is progress over perfection. I need to stop overthinking things and just go with the flow. Sometimes I need to just start with the imperfections and just make daily progress. Exactly what I just read. So I already used my podcast as an example. It took a while for me to get to this point where I'm ready to release this podcast. I had issues with the name. It wasn't perfect. I don't have podcast headphones, and I had to get to that point where I just had to tell myself, you know what, it doesn't have to be perfect. This mic is not the mic you're going to use throughout your podcast life. This background is not the background you're going to have to use throughout your podcast life. But it's best to start this way, so you can appreciate growth when you see it. How would you appreciate growth if you don't start this way? You want to start big. You want to start from up here. And if you start from up here, there's that high chance that you're going to come down, because you didn't climb a stairs from up. You climb a stairs from down up. Think about it right now. I don't understand what I was thinking. Was I expected to fly? I feel like it's something that a lot of us do. We always expect perfection, and then we keep on procrastinating once we can't get it. This year, you need to learn to start slow. Start where you are and just enjoy the flow. The intentional flow. Be intentional and go with the flow. Moving on to the social/physical aspect. My biggest ovation will not necessarily come from family and friends. And my biggest cheerleader is me. Yes, this is something I learned over the years. It was hard, it was painful at first, because there's certain times, I remember when I would release a YouTube video, and I'll be expecting my friends, after I've posted the link on my status and beg people, at least I'll be expecting, oh okay, if nobody even posts it, then my family members and those in my inner circle, those I call my close friends, then they will help me to repost it, right? Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do, most times they don't. And when they don't, it makes me feel bad, because then I don't feel supported and all of that. But if there's something I've learned, it's the fact that I'm the biggest cheerleader of my brand. You cannot hype my brand more than me. It's not possible. I've made peace with, and I think we all need to. If you have family members who are your biggest fan, then I'm happy for you. But if you don't, my dear, be your own biggest cheerleader. Period. Alright, so moving on to the next point. This was my word for 2021, and that is not to settle. I said it in 2021, although I found myself settling at some point, but I'm glad I'm back on track. The goal moving forward is not to settle. My needs are valid. Let me finish reading the point. So it says not to settle. My needs in a perspective are valid. I need to respect it enough not to settle. And this is not just in a perspective, this is in every area of my life. My needs are valid. My wants are valid. What I want for myself, what I want for my brand, what I want in a partner, they are valid. And I'm not supposed to settle. I've had that year, I was born in 2021, where I was settling. It's not going to happen in 2022. You either come with the energy, or you just stay far away from me. I'm not trying to get into a relationship with someone who is not giving me the energy I want. I'm not planning to get into a business with someone who is not bringing in the needed energy. I'm not trying to get into friendship where it is one-sided. I know what I deserve as a person. I know what I deserve as a brand. The 23rd point is the body I want is in the work I am not doing. But if I don't love myself enough, what people say to boost my confidence wouldn't matter. They would only be mere words. Now for the first part, I want a little bit of ease, a little bit of boom. That is only going to happen when I put in the work to achieve that. If I don't, I'm just going to have to be content with what I have, and that leads me to the next line. I am right now. I love myself so much. I've gone through that phase of inferiority complex. So right now, I love myself so much that it's amazing. Whatever people say to me is only to encourage me. Sometimes, it can make me emotional, because then it makes me remember those days where people had said hurtful words and everything. But at the end of the day, it's not like your word or the words you're going to say is what is going to boost the confidence I don't have. Because if I don't have confidence in myself, if I don't believe I'm beautiful, if you tell me I'm beautiful from now to next year, it's going to be saying mere words. I'm not going to believe it. I remember Pastor Media said one word. And see, normally speaking, this word or this statement, if If you are bigger than me, you are too big. If you are taller than me, you are too tall. If you are shorter than me, you are too short. If you are fatter than me, you are too fat. I'm the perfect way God wants me to be. That has always been like the word I've always said. So when I heard Pastor Mildred say the word in one of her messages, I was like, yes, he gets it. But then she added a clause I wasn't always adding. And that is the fact that you are perfect for the assignment God has for you. God wants you that way because He has a specific mandate for you. You get. And at the end of the day, see, variety is the spice of life. Just imagine if all of us are too tall. Imagine if all of us are too short. Imagine if all of us are too slim. Imagine if all of us are too fat. We cannot all be the same. So variety is the spice of life. And until you learn to accept yourself for who you are, whatever people say would never have meaning in your ears. They would only be mere words. The next point, which is the second to the last, my 24th point, is to overcome my fears. I have to face them. One of the phobias I have is driving. It's one of the reasons why I don't like sitting there in front, because then it's like I'm experiencing what driving is. Literally, it's just that I'm not the one holding the steering. I'm still my leg there's on the pedal and all of that. The fear I get from driving, I get to experience when I sit there in front, which is one of the reasons why I love to sit at the back. So entering 2022, I'm going to try to go for driving classes. My brother tried to teach me how to drive once, and I legit almost knocked down our building. The goal is to actually try to go for driving lessons this year. Fingers crossed. Because to overcome my fears, I have to face them. And I need to start with my phobia for driving. So help me God. Amen. Alright, so the last but not the least point number 25. I need to do better with reaching out to people. I think I mentioned this earlier. Yes. As one of my bad traits. But the plan and the goal is to work on it this 2022 and be more intentional with reaching out to people. If there's something you've learned in all the years of your life, feel free to drop them in the comment section. Feel free to drop them in the comment section of the post on Instagram as well. Send them as an email, send them as a DM, send them however it is you want. If you want feedback, I'm looking forward to your feedback. This is the first episode. Let me know what you think. Is it too long? Is it too short? Am I too loud? Am I too quiet? Let me know what you guys think. I've been talking for a very long time. I need to bring water on the next episode, but right now I need to go and get myself water to stay hydrated. So remember, just start. Like I've done, I've just started my podcast. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what's going to happen moving forward, but I've started. That's the first breakthrough. I've started, and I know it's only going to get better moving forward. So just start afraid, start scared. Be like me, just start. That business you've been procrastinating on, start. That podcast you've been procrastinating on, start. That blog you've been procrastinating on, start. Whatever it is you've been procrastinating on, you need to get started now. Remember, nothing is ever perfect at the beginning. Your first video, your first podcast, your first blog, your first business idea, your first anything is not going to be the best. So it is progress over perfection. That's all you want. Alright, so thank you all for joining me on this episode. Thank you all for staying with me on this ride. Please, if you love and enjoy this episode, do want to tell someone about this podcast. You'll be helping your life. Remember, the goal is to build a community of people who are intentional with every area of their life and who are willing to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So if you know someone who needs this podcast, if you know someone who will benefit from this podcast, do want to share with them, tell them about it, to recommend it. Thanks and God bless. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe on any of the podcast platforms. Please do want to give it a thumbs up. I think you'll be able to do that, and drop a comment. I think you'll be able to share it too. You'll be able to follow most likely. So just do all the good things you have to do and spread the word. The Intentional Flow podcast is here to stay. It's back and it's here to stay. I can't wait to see you on the next episode. It's still my birthday. Go shorty, it's your birthday. I'm the birthday girl. Happy birthday to me. I wish myself all the best this new year, and I'll see you guys in my next episode. Bye. My smile is so beautiful.